The reason we kind of had this panel is because we see like wallets kind of coming out of the age finally through so many things happening, not just in blockchain, but around regulation as well. And we thought it'd be lovely to kind of come get a panel together and kind of discuss the future of wallets. Lucas is working at Safe. For those who don't know Safe, Safe is the smart contract wallet, and they're essentially building an on-chain asset custody protocol. 100 billion. They've just like crossed 100 billion in assets secured just like a couple of weeks back. That is huge news. Pedro is the founder of Wallet Connect. Oh my God. Wallet Connect is essentially like an open source protocol that builds tools that connects dApps to wallets in a nutshell. And then we have Kyle here from Sling. And Sling is essentially like a money moving app that lets anyone send money anywhere across the globe, any currency, using the blockchain, but abstracting away that from the user. But I'll start with a broad question, maybe from Kyle. How do you see the role of kind of wallets evolve over the next few years?
I think as wallets start to evolve, I mean, the biggest thing that's going to happen here is really we need to figure out a way to get them into like mainstream use cases for other people that don't necessarily understand the technology behind crypto and behind the blockchain and all of those things, and just making it actually usable in a way that folks don't have to actually think about all of the underlying technology that sits behind it. They don't want to know what identity is, like they don't want to have to know what IAA is, like they don't think about those things today, they don't want to think about them with a wallet, they don't want to think about them with a blockchain, so it's about getting it out to the masses as we start to scale everything out.
Yeah, so one of the challenges with building wallets is that you essentially have to abstract one of the most complex cryptographic products distributed in the world, right? So many people kind of just go into the internet, put an email and password, but now we're kind of just telling them to learn how cryptography works, and they don't even know how to spell it, most of them. So basically, we need to abstract a lot of these things, but it's not going to happen over time. We have to have a very long-term vision, like 5-10 years from now, what is the internet going to look like. But at the same time, we have to gather enough people to kind of create momentum and build it for the people today. And that's quite a big challenge for building for the people today and build for the people of the future, and try to see how do we connect the dots there.
Yeah, I mean, might be slightly biased here, but I really think like wallets for like kind of the biggest transition will be when wallets move to smart accounts, because it relates to kind of abstracting away the complexity of crypto, where like we're almost used to like writing down these like 12-word seed phrases and like storing them somewhere or hiding them somewhere where no one else can find them, but hopefully you will find them eventually, kind of as like a way to authenticate in wallets. And like smart accounts will fundamentally change that. Like they will make wallets programmatic, or like you can really program how a wallet should act, and you can move away from this single private key controlling a wallet and have much more sophisticated systems like Gnosis Pay, where suddenly you have like in a way, it's actually a decoupling from custody and financial services. So you can have self-custody of your crypto, but you can have other parties, like a Gnosis Pay kind of providing a payment service, or you could have like another party, like a bank even, that acts as a recovery agent on your account. And like if you lose your key, no problem, just go to your bank, authenticate with them, and get access back. And like this, like account abstraction is really going to be the basis that will like kind of unleash this innovation of like different abstraction layers in a way that really kind of make crypto invisible. And we were talking about this before. Like I went to your website, Sling Money, and like there's no word of crypto, and like that's like exactly how it should be. Like people shouldn't even care what's the underlying technology.
No, makes a lot of sense. And while we are on the topic of like abstraction and making it easier for people, I still feel we have a long way to go. We're talking specifically about UX. How would you compare wallets to a regular banking app today? And what are the core differences? Or on one side, what are some things that wallet need to kind of improve to kind of reach that kind of banking experience or the usability experience? And on the other side, where are like some of the points where banks kind of fail in their UX, but wallets haven't addressed it? Maybe Pedro, if you want to start with.
I mean, I think we don't give enough credit to ourselves for building like a great experience. Like banks do way more than what wallets do, but like what the few things that wallets do, they do it very well. You know, I think I tweet about every year about how I hate my bank, and it's basically just me frustrating about going to do something, some basic like an international transfer, and just realizing, wow, they're so backwards. But then again, the few things that are missing are quite critical, like things that Lucas was talking about as recoverability. You know, it's not something you can ignore, like just expecting people to like bear like a seed phrase and just expect to protect it. It's quite a big feature to be missing. And other features like abstracting the payments for fees, I think that's probably even worse than recoveries, because having to have two assets to transfer another asset is just really, really confusing. And don't get me started on the chains, because then we won't stop here.
I think one of the other things too is like is interoperability. I mean, right now a bank is really, really great at allowing you to access your funds, use them however you want. It may cost you something, it may be slow, it may be expensive, but it exists and you can use it, and you can use it pretty much anywhere. So like wallets, as you're pointing out, like what chain is it on, like what currency is it, like the ability to actually transact these things both across people, across from a consumer to a business to a business, all of these things are not yet built in ways that are really easy for all of these types of people and types of use cases to be built with across wallets. And it's a very, it's still a very nascent market, and there's a lot that can be done to make all of these things incredibly accessible, that banks have been doing for not just the last 60 years that we've had cards, but the entire time before that, where things were written down with pencil and paper. So there's a long way to catch up in terms of getting that interoperability since the dawning of a check, or just a general bank account from the Knights Templar. It's been around for a long time.
It's actually interesting that you say that there's more interoperability in banking. Because for me, that's something that I find the most exciting about wallets. Is like no one can tell me what I can do with my wallet and what I can't do. I mean, there's like technical or in the end, like I can store whatever asset I want on a wallet. Like in a bank, like the bank decides what type of assets, what type of currencies I can do there, and I can interact with any application that I want. I can, if I don't like MetaMask anymore, I can just switch the private key to another wallet, and like there's no way I can move my account from UBS to JP Morgan. I can maybe move the assets, but like I cannot use the full account. Maybe I'm not too familiar with kind of newest developments around open banking, but I do feel wallets are much more interoperable in that way.
Fair enough. And then there's something that's interesting that Wallet Connect has been doing to kind of bring this UX kind of closer or better in some sense is the Web3 inbox. Would you like to kind of speak more about it?
Yeah, so Web3 Inbox is us trying to kind of like branch out from what people believe a wallet should be. Right now, everyone has a seed phrase. You can send and receive assets. You can maybe like look at your NFTs. Maybe you can even do some swaps. But we're kind of like forgetting that one of the key differences for wallets is that this is not just a financial tool. This is actually your Web3 identity. And by Web3 identity, I just mean your web identity. Like all of your interactivity online should be kind of tracked and just controlled through this like activity center. It's more powerful than just financial assets. So it kind of seems a little naive for us to think that you cannot know what's going on with your account from your wallet. In the normal application today, the first thing that happens is you go to the App Store, you install it, and the first thing that pops up is like allow notifications. And we don't have that in Web3. We will visit 1,000 different dApps, and we have no way to know what happened on those dApps after you leave the apps. So with Web3 Inbox, we created this experience which can be integrated natively into wallets, that every app that you visit, they will ask you the exact same thing, allow notifications. So that means once you disconnect your wallet, you have the ability to now receive notifications about, hey, something just happened with your DAO. Maybe you want to vote on that proposal. Your liquidity position went out of band, or maybe your favorite cat just got an amazing offer and you should definitely sell, you know? Like this kind of thing right now, there's a sort of anxiety where people have to like constantly connect to get reminded, oh, I actually did something in this tab. And this way it's a little bit more passive. You could just live your life and they come to you rather than you go to them.
Yeah, that is super cool. And then moving on to a little bit of a distribution kind of question. I know we kind of keep asking this question a lot. Like, how would we get our parents, our mothers and fathers to use a safe to use a Wallet Connect or a Sling, right? Either indirectly or directly.
Yeah, I tried to convince my mom to use Safe. She didn't get it. She's actually a signer in my personal multi-sig setup.
But she does not know.
She doesn't know. So in case I need her signature, I would actually have to explain to her how to find that private key and stuff. But I think like my parents will probably start using wallets in a much different way. They will not start with a wallet, but actually they will start with like a bank account, like fully custodial setup. And then like the bank account might offer like a MPC-based custodial wallet as a first step towards interacting with certain applications, logging into Web3 or something like that. And ideally, they might use also like a smart account under the hood that then, if I decide to migrate this custodial wallet into a self-custodial wallet, I can do so, or I can have, I'm not attached to just this one provider, but then I think it's a much more smoother transition from kind of like a bank account to like kind of through the applications kind of experiencing some or kind of transitioning towards wallets. Definitely my parents will never write down 12 words and put it somewhere in a drawer. I'm 100% sure.
It was actually really easy to get my mom, at least, to sign up for Sling. I sent her a link that had half of my niece's birthday present funds on it, and she clicked the link, and 30 seconds later, the funds were deposited into her bank account. And then she hit the sign-up button, went through IDV in 2 minutes. Didn't know that she's using crypto, doesn't know that it's a blockchain app outside of me talking about it a little bit over Christmas. But yeah, it's really, really easy.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah. Just abstract it away and don't tell them.
I definitely think we're not ready. Like, I mean, I don't want to be the bummer in the room, but we're so not ready for that. Like, but we're so close. Like, honestly, like just the idea that people are talking about smart accounts is so exciting, because it was just a bunch of like nerds 3 years ago saying like this needs to be fixed, and people were like, wait a second, we're doing proof of stake. Then we do that, and now proof of stake is done. Today, blobs are done. So now people are like, okay, what's next in the list? Smart accounts, let's fix that. And now the conversation is becoming way, way more serious. And it's so exciting to see. I mean, Safe has been doing this for a long time, so they're kind of like the people shouting in the room that we've been doing this for a long time. Finally, someone is paying attention. But like now it's like a whole community. Like people are really taking smart accounts seriously. So I can imagine 2 or 3 years from now, like being as easy as creating a Facebook account. Yeah.
Certainly hope that's kind of soon. That's super needed. But at this point, we could maybe kind of open it up for a couple of questions if anyone has from the audience.
Hi, thank you. I'm Nick from 1inch Hardware Wallet team, and I have 2 questions, if I may. So first one, what do you think about the future of hardware wallets? And second one, what do you think about Trust Swift and the future of passkey in the wallet space?
I mean, I think this is the best hardware wallet ever. Like it has like secure enclave and kind of everyone has it. Like I don't think we will convince people to buy like a $200 ledger to manage their digital assets. So I think we need to go to somewhere where like something like passkeys, which everyone that has a mobile phone can already use. Like, I mean, the passkeys still are quite new, and there are problems with it. Like also, like we were kind of teaching everyone, like don't do blind signing, and now we want people to use passkeys where you don't have any clue what you're actually signing. But actually, I think Pedro might have more kind of thoughts on the passkey stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but I didn't want to be the one breaking the bad news. Like, it's really gonna be your phone. Like, there's no other way. Like, the problem is being solved with like all of these hardware wallets, but the problem is actually the EVM, and we just need the EVM to change. So, like I was saying before, we did proof of stake. Now we did blobs. I'm very confident that the next upgrade with Prague is going to be about smart accounts. And two exciting EIPs that I want to see happen is 3074 and 7212. And 7212 is really bringing to the EVM the ability to use passkeys and, more importantly, the Apple Secure Enclave. So that would be the hardware wallet that you need, and it would be supported at the EVM layer. So that would solve all the problems. So, I just think we're solving the problem like in the short-term way, when the long-term way is actually, let's just change the EVM.
I'm a payments nerd. I have no comment.
Hey, I'm Sid. I work at Areta. So I was at the MEV market event yesterday, and there was a lot of talk about chain abstraction. And, like from a user experience perspective and from a liquidity perspective, liquidity is quite fragmented across ecosystems and wallets, etc. And there was quite a lot of talk around, how chain abstraction might add a lot of risk, etc., because you might, incentivize less safe chains and riskier assets and things like that. So in terms of the user experience perspective, how do you guys think about chain abstraction, and what role will it play, and how does it need to evolve essentially to make the user experience better?
I think that when you're, again, I think this is actually pretty easy. Like in that you want to abstract away anything that if your plumber wouldn't understand it, then you need to abstract it away from your customers, and doing so in a way that has the ability to add liquidity into one market versus another all becomes a matter of trust in how that system is built. And so having all of those things together, yes, you're going to have things that fail. We have banks that fail pretty much every day around the globe. It doesn't cause major catastrophes. So what you'll start to see, I think, when you have all of those nodes connected, you have everything in that way, you'll see, yeah, some things are going to fail. And that liquidity is going to cause those failures, and having that interconnection. That's okay. That's how a free market should work, and that's how these things actually should get solved. The things that are good should survive, and the things that don't have that liquidity, don't have that staying power, shouldn't. It's my personal opinion.
I would maybe go also beyond liquidity. Chain abstraction is one of the most important things we need to achieve to really have, to bring people on chain, really, because no one also cares what server your website is hosted on, what country you're hosting website and stuff like that. No one should care what network an app is on, and I think it's going to be quite an interesting 1-2 years around that, because there's probably around 50 to 100 projects coming from various different areas of Web3, kind of trying to solve the same thing. That's obviously kind of the wallet and smart account space will play a role there, and the kind of the networks and the interoperability part, and then also the DEXs and the intent architecture side, and they all come from different sides and try to solve the same things, and they're probably going to be a few dozen different kind of implementations of what chain abstraction means. It's you have the Optimism ecosystem with the superchain, you have Polygon with ACK layer, you've got IBC, Cosmos ecosystem, you've got Near doing a lot of things in chain abstraction. It's all going to be quite different, but still kind of the same. So there will be an explosion of different ways to solve chain abstraction, and then probably over the next 2-3 years there will be a consolidation, and then we will probably go to 1 or 2, 3 primitives or kind of solutions that will find traction. But in the end, hopefully it's going to be for the better, where we finally get rid of kind of knowing, or asking do you want your money to be sent on Polygon or on Optimism? I don't really care. Just send it to me and I decide then what I do with it.
So thank you guys. And before we kind of conclude, I'd love to ask each one of you, for a quick one piece of alpha for the audience. It could be anything, not necessarily related to wallets or banking. Maybe not a meme coin, but yeah.
Something I'm personally quite excited about is there's this Swiss bank, Signum, that is working on a solution where you can come with your self-custodial wallet, and you can actually kind of enable Signum to be your recovery agent, and they do like KYC checks and stuff like that. And then once it happens that you lose your private keys of your account, then you can go to Signum and they recover your account. And I think that's one of the key pieces that are missing for people to really start using wallets, because they have like full self-custody in kind of the purest form is unfortunately going to be quite a niche. People want to have this kind of like backup plan if things go wrong, and like not even talking about the inheritance case. But yeah, that's something where like even myself, like I'm quite confident kind of managing my private keys, but I still want to have like a way to recover my account if things go south. So that's for me something that hopefully will kind of enable a lot more users to come on chain.
Well, I mean, smart accounts are a big deal. Like, I think the best analogy is that nobody has a normal phone, everyone has a smartphone, and that's for a good reason. You know, we just want more and more and more. Like, we expect more, and accounts are no different than that. Like, right now, if there's one thing that we have kind of like lagged behind, is that we have made the blockchain smarter when we moved from Bitcoin to Ethereum, but we just kept the accounts as dumb as it was in Bitcoin. So we definitely needed an upgrade. There was a lot of blockchains that solved this problem, but they just didn't have the liquidity and the network effects. So let's not take it for granted. Let's make sure that Ethereum still retains that kind of position and make the accounts smarter. It's just something that we need to kind of expect more from wallets. Like, I think we're kind of a little too complacent. So I'm glad that this year is a little bit different, but like if you asked 2 years ago, like no one was thinking about this. So like smart accounts are a must need. Like,
And Wallet Connect is you're helping out wallets, right?
of course, Wallet Connect is wallets.
Awesome.
I probably sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but abstract everything away from your end users. Don't make them think about an actual technology. Like, it was a great example of like, people don't care where a website is hosted. People don't care what like technology is running these things on the back end. They care that it works every single time they want to use it, and that they don't miss things or lose things. Like, you can abstract all the rest of it away if you want to actually have a large consumer adoption of a product. Because consumers, for the most part, outside of all of the wonderfully smart people in this room that actually care about these things, the rest of them don't. They just want to know that it works.
Awesome. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, guys.